This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening, everyone. Susan Neal Fraser's bid for an appeal against her murder conviction could blow out to August. Her case resumed today with a tense exchange between a forensic expert and prosecutors over evidence presented at the original trial.
He's one of the key witnesses in Susan Neal Fraser's fight for an appeal, Dr. Mark Reynolds, a forensic expert from Western Australia, who today picked apart evidence given at the original trial. Neal Fraser was found guilty of murdering her partner Bob Chappell on board their yacht off Sandy Bay in 2009. Today the case resuming in the hopes of proving there's fresh and compelling evidence to cast the conviction into doubt. Dr. Reynolds completed a report into a police winching exercise, which showed how the yacht's winches could lift a heavy object like a body. He admitted he doesn't have a lot of experience with boats, but said the condition in which the tests were done are not consistent with the known circumstances on the night. He said his point was, we don't know the state of the ropes, so we shouldn't rely on it. When questioned, wouldn't you accept that there's nothing in this report that's fresh? He replied, I guess I would have to agree. Dr. Reynolds also scrutinised blood testing of the yacht's dinghy. Parts of it returned a positive luminol test, which the court heard signals blood or other substances. But he said given subsequent testing didn't deliver positive results, it's more likely there just wasn't blood there. Prosecutors hit back, saying his assessment was not fair and completely took police evidence out of context. The judge is still to see the full details of new evidence from prosecutors. The court has heard the unspecified video recordings are significant, extremely important and substantial. This round of hearings finishes tomorrow, but more dates have been set aside for June and possibly as late as August. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
A 13-year-old boy has been arrested following an alleged armed robbery in Hobart overnight. Tasmania police say an attendant at the Caltex service station on Main Road, Moona, was threatened with scissors, with the alleged offender demanding cash, which was refused. The accused then fled on foot and was arrested soon after. The attendant was unharmed in the incident. Tasmania Police says a deliberately lit fire has caused extensive damage to a Road Chalet property. Fire crews arrived to the Capania Street blaze at around 5:30 and were quick to extinguish the fire. But the damage bill is still estimated to be at around $80,000. The home was unoccupied at the time. A subsequent investigation found the fire was caused by arson. Anyone with information is asked to contact Crime Stoppers. The RSPCA is set to close its Hobart Centre by Easter following serious financial concerns. The organisation will now focus its efforts on its inspection service, with other shelter and foster services taking the lion's share of responsibility.
A tough decision for any organisation, with RSPCA Tasmania facing serious financial challenges.
We have developed a plan, and part of that plan is to actually close Hobart facility.
Its CEO says there's a critical need for the RSPCA to have a strong protective arm, and its inspectorate area currently lacks the focus it requires, leaving closure the only option.
As the inspectorate service becomes more efficient and its reporting service becomes more efficient, we see more jobs to go and look at.
I think from animal welfare organisations, it is important that the RSPCA can carry out that inspectorate function for the long term.
Shutting down the Mornington facility will free up around $220,000 in annual costs. Launceston's facility will continue to operate as usual.
We intend to internally improve the results and improve the results for animals all over Tasmania that are in most need.
With the RSPCA now moving away from foster and surrender services, organisations such as 10 Lives Cat Centre here in Hobart will step in to ensure little animals such as Ivy here will be given the care they need.
We're here, we're an open intake shelter. We never turn a cat or a kitten away. We're here to help for the long term.
The Dogs Home of Tasmania also assisting in the rehoming of animals currently at the centre.
Where they don't work is the area that we want to continue to work in, which is the animal cruelty side of things. So they need us to keep on doing the work that we need to do.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
Funding has been secured for a new education campaign on the dangers of fruit fly. The state's peak fruit growers body says a lack of knowledge in the community leaves Tasmania vulnerable to more outbreaks in the future.
Squibb's Orchard in Sprayton has been one of many properties affected by the fruit fly crisis. Since the outbreak of the pest 2 months ago, produce has had to be cold sterilised to comply with regulations. Now, as the fruit fly threat comes under control, there are efforts to prevent any more outbreaks in the future.
It's just the flow-on effect that if we lose our pest-free status, there's markets that the industry have been working for years and years and years to get that we're going to lose.
Fruit Growers Tasmania will run workshops and release education packs to growers, explaining why safeguards against the pests need to be in place. An education program for schools and colleges may also form part of the package. $100,000 in federal funding will pay for the initiative.
It's about the public becoming aware of the importance of why these biosecurity measures are in place. Being basically 100 years without a fruit fly incursion, there obviously is a lack of information out there at community level, at grower level.
The fruit growers body says the fruit fly situation has stabilised. The control area needs to be free of incursions for another 10 weeks before the state's pest-free status can resume.
Fruit Growers Tasmania will not accept anything less than full eradication of the fruit fly within Tasmania.
Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
Hundreds of Tasmanians have today pledged to work together to tackle gender inequality as part of International Women's Day. A fundraising breakfast in Hobart hearing from inspirational women from across all sectors with calls for an increase in flexible working arrangements.
An early morning start for a lesson in empowerment. Over 500 Tasmanians today hearing from local women who have worked their way to success.
These women are shaping our future, and we wanted to get a bit of dialogue happening around what the future might be like for younger women and girls.
To reflect on the achievements of women in the past, but also achievements of women today.
Within the crowd, high school students eager to hear from the esteemed panel, including Governor Kate Warner, Paralympian Melissa Colton and Alison Venn from the Menzies Institute.
Keep learning, keep trying and put up your hand for as many opportunities as you can.
It gives me trust that no matter what I do, it's always going to be the best thing for me, and just go on my own journey. It doesn't matter where it takes me.
The Royal Hobart Hospital Research Foundation's fundraising event shining a light on those creating positive social change. Flexible working hours and pay parity topping today's agenda as next on the list.
So that workplaces that encourage both men and women to be able to take that time off to care for their family but still actually pursuing a career.
And I think it's quite concerning to learn that average superannuation balances for women are half that of men. So I think that is something we really need to address.
The event raising over $650,000 for Tasmanian medical research.
I see so many amazing young women who are involved in local medical research and really making an impact globally. For me, that was one of the sweetest moments.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has closed higher as news of potential exemptions for some countries from proposed US tariffs on imported steel and aluminium eased concerns about a trade war. The ASX 200 index has risen by 40.9 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 78.26 US cents and 107.42 New Zealand cents. Sport is next with Tom Cooper. And Tom, the Hawks touched down in Tassie.
That's right, Joe. Just in time for their JLT clash with the Blues. I'll tell you more after the break. Also coming up, the buzz is building ahead of one of the biggest events on the state's sporting calendar. The Tasmanian Tigers are sitting pretty up the top of the Sheffield Shield ladder following a thrilling win over South Australia this afternoon. Spurred on by skipper Travis Head, the Redbacks came within 16 runs of stealing the match, but the Tigers' attack held steady.
With a day of play left to topple the Redbacks' order, Andrew Feckerty got straight down to it.
Big shout, and that's given. Only the third ball of the day and Ferguson has to depart. That's a perfect start for Tasmania.
Sam Rainbird wasted no time either, claiming Jake Weatherold on his first delivery before Feckerty secured his second scalp of the day in Lehman.
Big shout, and that's given.
But the Redback skipper was just getting warmed up at the crease, combining with Cooper to slow the Tigers' momentum and ensure the visitors would last into lunch.
Bouncer, and that will go all the way.
The pair continued to frustrate the home side's attack into the afternoon session before Bird put an end to the partnership.
Bouncer, big shouts for catch, and that's gone. What a wicket for Tasmania. That's exactly what they needed.
Alex Carey was the next to follow, courtesy of Malenko, before Head brought up his 7th first-class 100 to make things interesting. But when Bird claimed 2 in quick succession, the home side looked home and hosed.
That's straight up in the air there, and Doolan's tracked back and he's caught it.
Needing 2 more for the win, and with time running out, Rainbird answered the call, sending Head packing just 5 runs shy of 150, before Bird finished the job with his 4th wicket of the innings, as the Tigers kept their finals hopes alive and well with a 16-run win.
Meantime, Hawthorn has arrived in the state for its annual community camp ahead of the side's JLT match. The Hawks will take part in a series of events, including a charity bowling night in Moona tonight and school visits in the north and northwest of the state tomorrow, before wrapping up with a family day at UTAS Stadium on Sunday morning. The side take on Carlton on Saturday night. Excitement is building ahead of one of the biggest events on the Tasmanian sporting calendar, the V8 Super Sprint at Symmons Plains. Conditions are predicted to be more favourable for drivers this time around, following a massive pile-up in 2017.
Almost half the field got caught up in last year's carnage.
That's a massive crash there for Tander. He's smart. That's Rick Kelly involved. Tim Blanchard, Moffat, they're all involved. Have a look at this.
Lee Holdsworth's Holden was one of the few cars that managed to avoid it.
I saw it all happening and I backed out, and a few other opportunists ploughed into it, you know, full guns blazing.
Following a shaky start to the supercar season in Adelaide, Holdsworth and his ZB Commodore will look to make their mark on the Symmons Plains circuit, having fallen short of the podium 13 times.
It's been one of our most competitive rounds in terms of our speed, so and we have improved the Preston Hire racing car over the break, so looking forward to coming back and having a real crack at it. We get a huge following there, you know, you get your die-hard supporters.
Rookie driver Richie Stanaway has never driven the track behind the wheel of a supercar, but will look to push for pole on behalf of the Ford fanatics with a strong performance during qualifying, key on the shorter track.
The focus then increases on each tiny little metre of the circuit, so if you miss a gear shift or whatever, it can be 5 spots on the grid, so everything has to be perfect.
I think probably the biggest difference is everyone's just out to win at the moment, so you're going to have everyone, you know, putting absolutely everything on the line.
Racing begins on April 6.
Horse racing's leading ladies took centre stage for the one-off event. The 4-race Female Jockey Championship held at Launceston Racecourse, attracting riders from each state and the Northern Territory.
It really is a celebration of the success and achievements of women riders.
Tasmania's Siggy Carr had early success, riding a winner in race 2.
And Dubbo, the favourites home. Dubbo for Siggy Carr.
Before looking good for another victory, leading Weekend Whiskey entering the final straight, but she was reeled in by minute repeater and Tassie-born Raquel Clark on Liffey Bow.
Who's now dashed up on the outside, grabbed the front, and minute repeater comes away for a good win.
Carr says the championship recognises the growing number of female jockeys cracking the sport.
Give it a go. You've got to get out there and give it a go, otherwise you're left unknown.
Carr finished the championship tied for 3rd. The title went interstate. 23-year-old Winona Costin from Sydney racing consistently throughout the night to come out on top.
I had a couple of placings and then got a winner as well. And it's been lovely riding here.
Tas Racing sees this as an opportunity to demonstrate not only female jockey skills on the track, but also the debt we owe women collectively in all forms of what we do.
Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
Hopefully many more events like it in the future, Joe, and that is it for sport this Thursday night.
Indeed. Thank you very much for that, Tom. Well, coming up next, Murph will be joining us in the studio with a look at the day's weather.
Good
Good evening. Hobart, 21 degrees. Launceston, 26 today. Burnie and Devonport reached 22. Fingal found the warmest weather with a 27 today after Lyowini started us off with 1. Temperatures sat between 1 and 5 degrees above average. Maydena, 26. Ouse, 25. Flinders Island and Grove, 24. Campania, King Island and St Helens, 23. Lowhead, Wynyard and Strawn, 22. A large patch of cloud is over the Tasman Sea and Southern Ocean. A fair bit is also drifting over central Queensland and inland eastern Australia. The rest of the country mostly cloud-free apart from where that trough has brought the thundercloud to the Gulf country and the far northwest. Some low-level cloud off the south coast today and some patchy cumulus cloud formed along a few mountain ranges over Tasmania. Tomorrow a high sits just to our east, extending a ridge over the eastern states. A trough is there along the WA coast and over the top end as well, and tropical cyclone Hola is brewing there off New Caledonia. Winds east to northeast over the north tomorrow, northwest northeasterly winds over eastern waters and variable winds elsewhere, all fairly light. Mostly sunny Friday for Hobart, 24 the top, 24 for Huonville, Campania, 27 degrees. Launceston, fine, sunny, 26, 22 for Devonport. Early fog clearing from Georgetown with 23 the maximum. Partly cloudy for Burnie on 22, Wynyard the same number and 23 for Strawn. And for the east, mostly sunny. St Helens 23, look at Swansea, 26 degrees and 22 for Port Arthur. UV high to very high. On Saturday, fine and partly cloudy for the entire state. A few showers about the west and south on Sunday, maybe later over the northeast. A shower for the west and northeast on Monday, otherwise fine. Sunny again for Perth, Adelaide and Melbourne. Canberra okay as well. A shower clearing from Sydney, a top of 25 there, showers and rain for the other centres up north. And current conditions, mostly cloudy in Hobart, 18 degrees, sunny and 22 in Launceston. Right now it's okay in Devonport, 2 and 19 degrees. That wraps up International Women's Day, Joe, and the 8.5-month countdown to International Men's Day on November 19 starts.
Yes, we can't wait for that one. Thank you, Merv. Before we leave you tonight, some inquisitive penguins have seized the opportunity for a selfie on ice. An Antarctic expeditioner left his camera alone, and it wasn't long before these emperor penguins waddled up for a closer look. They must be teenagers. Well, that's all from the news team for now. We'll see you a bit later. Bye-bye.